All right, everyone, our next run is ready. So join me in welcoming ref417 with Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga DX any percent easy. Let's go.
All right, Ref, take it away.
Okay, take off. Obviously, it's a crash. Oh, okay.
All right, everyone. Once again, I am Self-Mind, host for this next run. We took a little detour down the wrong warp pipe, but that's all right. We are back. We are ready to go. So please join me, everyone, in welcoming ref417 with Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga DX any percent easy. Let's go.
Hello, everybody. I'm GhostKumo, and I'm going to be commentating for this run. And here with us is ref417. We'll be running this game for you today.
Hi. Okay. Hi, I'm Ref. Mario and Luigi. Next title is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I will do my best dance. Okay. 5 counted. Start.
Yep. Go ahead and count down.
Count down 5. Okay. 5.
Hi.
Sorry. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Splendid. Hello, everybody. I'm GhostKumo, and Ref's not going to be doing a whole lot of talking for this run, but that's okay. That's what I'm here for. So, to introduce what this game is, you may have noticed in the last year or so that there have been multiple releases of remakes of Mario RPGs. That being Super Mario RPG last winter, or it was like fall. And just recently, Mario and Luigi, or Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Well, the first game of the Mario RPG bunch canon that did get a remake was this one, which is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga and Bowser's Minions, also known in Japan as Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, or Mario and Luigi RPG DX, or Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga DX, as we sometimes call it in the community. This is a 3DS remake of Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga that was released relatively late in the lifespan of the Nintendo 3DS, and believe it runs on the same engine that Dream Team and Paper Jam did. So the basic gist of the plot here is that there was supposed to be a friendly mission between the Mushroom Kingdom, again, a peace mission from the Mushroom Kingdom and its neighbor, the Bean Kingdom. Things go awry, but we'll get into that very shortly. As this is an RPG, we have an RPG combat system. Whenever it is the player's turn, you can pick classic Mario options such as jumping or hammering. And you also have timed commands, which is what you're seeing the good and excellent for. That means that Reef is playing very well here. Now, one of the unique things about the combat system of this game is that you can dodge or counter every single attack in this game. Which means that the speedrun is actually very min-maxed. You focus as much as you can on doing as much damage as possible because the best defense is to not get hit. Anyways, the gist of the plot: Bowser came to kidnap the princess, but as it turns out, the previous peace mission I talked about before was actually a setup. There's things going wrong in the Bean Kingdom right now, and the ambassador was actually an imposter who brought a device that can suck up the princess's voice, which is needed for some very nefarious ends, and replaces it with explosive text. So anytime the princess talks, everything around her literally explodes. It's kind of a funny fourth wall gag, but for the sake of the story, we need to recover the princess's voice because anytime she says anything is liable to cause immediate damage around her. In fact, it's why Bowser is deciding that we are going to go to the Bean Kingdom on our journey for this game, because he can't kidnap the princess if every time she says anything, she breaks another wing of his castle. Anyways, that's why Bowser is teaming up with us very briefly. This is a fun little game. Very charming, very amusing, very cute. I'm a big fan. I've always been a big fan of the original Superstar Saga. We'll get into little bits and pieces of the differences here, but the, broad strokes of the run, we're just kind of in the early tutorial section. Bowser's got us on an airship, and we have to head to the Bean Kingdom. So this whole area kind of works as a bit of a tutorial for the mechanics of the game. Although he's bypassing all the treasure chests, and things it does slightly bother me to watch every time. So really quickly, because we are traveling internationally, this Koopa notices that we don't have photographs of our characters, which means we don't have valid passports. So we're going to take a couple of little photographs here, and Riff is going to stand perfectly still and not do anything funny to make his photographs look weird. Okay, I'm guessing it's actually faster not to put in anything. The nice thing about this game is it does have a fast-forward text. You can actually input some funny things, and what it does is it basically changes their photograph in the menu, and it just makes it look really funny. So here we're making our way through the airship, and this is where a lot of our early combat tutorials kind of are forced upon us. Mario RPGs are not exactly the most well-known for... They're kind of infamous for giving you a lot of tutorials. So, Mario and Luigi are our two party members for the entirety of this game. And their gimmick is that each one is controlled by one of the two face buttons of originally the Game Boy Advance, now on the 3DS. And that means that everything you do with Mario will be controlled with the A button, and everything you'll do with Luigi will be controlled with the B button. On the overworld, you can switch between the two, so that reverses it. Luigi is A and Mario is B, but for the most part, that's just the kind of way you can visualize it. Reef was actually able to skip a bit of a tutorial fight earlier that kind of explains the combat system. But anyways, yep, just stomping on Goombas, what the Mario Brothers do best. It is worth noting we are running this on this game's easy difficulty. The reality of it is it doesn't really change up too much to run on easy or normal. And we never really made like a category separation. I think we did like a long time ago, but it eventually just became like any percent. But there are a few things that it does make a little easier. But ultimately what the run comes down to is just not getting hit. So in Superstar Saga, you have the ability to select what stats you want to up. For most of the run, Reef is going to be upping power, because obviously he wants to do the most damage, and when you can dodge every attack, defensive stats are kind of more a nice perk than necessary. I like the little Mario thinking face. For those of you who are watching on the Twitch channel, we do have an emote that resembles Mario thinking to himself, and that in fact does originate a little bit from this game. Anyway, so these two colorful characters here are Cackletta and Fawful. They are going to be our main antagonists for the rest of this game, and this little bean here, literally a bean, because he is a Bean Kingdom resident, and their people are all based around beans, is Fawful, and he is one of the funniest characters in the entire series. In the English translation of his text, he speaks very oddly, and speaks a lot about mustard and fink rats and stuff like that, and it's kind of great. I love him. Like, he was so popular from this game that he ended up being the main villain of the third game in this series, Bowser's Inside Story, probably the most beloved of the trilogy. Anyways, this whole section, I believe, is based on the number of hits you land. I don't think he has any, like, set health value. But yeah, the weird thing on his head just kind of does a whole bunch of stuff. And now that he's done having fun teasing us, he's just going to blow up Bowser's airship. And we are going to crash land in the Bean Kingdom, meaning that instead of landing in the capital, we're going to land up on its outskirts. Some quite well-animated cutscenes in this game, I think. So here we see green and red falling to the ground. I wonder what that could be. Yeah, here we see nice use of the fast-forward cutscenes feature. This run does end up taking about as long as a glitchless run of the original game does, despite this, just because of the way it kind of moves. Anyways, now we are set to arrive in the Bean Kingdom, but we need to officially cross the border. So we're going to play a little mini-game where we are literally going to jump the border with a jump rope. The timing on this one is relatively easy to get used to, and I believe it's deterministic every single playthrough, but you're going to see Reef is going to intentionally take a couple of hits. And the reason for this is the very final, like when he's done with this minigame, they're going to say mission is successful, and for every extra life you have, you're going to see a couple more fireworks. So it's actually a good idea to take a hit there, because it saves a couple of time from not having to see all the extra fireworks.
Bye-bye.
So now we need to head further into the Bean Kingdom, but as we can see here, our friend Bowser has gotten himself into a little bit of a pickle. Namely that he has landed in a cannon, and this fella here, Tollstar, refuses to let him out. In order to cross his toll, we're supposed to pay 100 coins. However, our money is in the Mushroom Kingdom currency, and the inflation rate in this universe is kind of janky, so 100 kit coins that we have from the Mushroom Kingdom only translates to a pretty small number in the Bean Bean Kingdom, so he requires us to get 100 Bean Bean Kingdom coins. The routing around this can be a little tricky. There's a whole bunch of coins here, and he's going to want to collect as many as he can from outside of battle. You can also get coins from every battle, and I believe you do have to do a couple of battles here, and if you do it perfectly on the overworld, I think you only need to do 2 battles, but if you make any mistakes, you might have to do 3. So these two fellas saw us off in the distance, and kind of just go through this funny little dance here. Anyways, their job is to teach us Bros attacks. Well, Bros abilities, I should say. We'll get to Bros attacks when we get to the combat section. That is very soon. But on the overworld, they teach us 2 abilities, Spin Bros and the High Jump Bros. The Spin lets you cross horizontal distances, and the High Jump lets you cross, or lets you get over high vertical distances. I love that this works. So there's a glitch here that you can actually do to bypass the Force tutorial there, where you climb the little mountain there. So he just used a little miniature glitch to save a couple of seconds on just not having to do the tutorial, because we already know how it works. Anyways, now we're on to the Bros attack tutorial. Now you have options to jump and later hammer in combat. However, we also have our special moves, which in this game are called Bros attacks, and they're based heavily around the overworld abilities, plus a couple more that we'll actually get later. But the Spin Bros translates into Splash Bros, which is Mario's main skill, and we're going to be seeing a bit of usage of that for a while. Luigi also has the Bounce Bros, which kind of has like an inverted series of inputs from Splash Bros. And those are going to be our main form of damage. And Bros attacks in this game have a bunch of different properties, but we'll get into those over the course of the run. So we did see a little bit of a glitch earlier. Believe it or not, it's very similar to a glitch that we can actually do on the Game Boy Advance version, the original version of this game. The Game Boy Advance version of this game is, I mean, one of the most beloved Game Boy Advance games of all time, but it's also pretty well known in the speedrun for a few different things. A whole bunch of abusable mechanics and a whole bunch of abusable overworld stuff that make it for a very broken speedrun, such that the current world record for the Game Boy Advance version of this game is about 72 minutes.
まあいいや、これ。
But as you can tell by our estimate here, even though this is any percent, this category is about 3 hours and 20 minutes long. Kind of depends on execution and luck on how well you play. But there aren't very many glitches in this category, which is a little strange because as far as I'm aware, it's on either the original or modified version of the engine that Dream Team and Paper Jam are on. And that and those games are rather famous for being broken themselves. Superstar Saga is like broken in the sense you have something that enables really big skips extremely early on, because there's an area that you can get to early through some glitching around objects that is not super late into the game, but like connects with an area that's super late in the game, and that's how you activate really late game very early in that one. But we don't have nearly as many glitches to work with in this game, despite having many more to work with in Dream Team and Paper Jam. I'm not entirely sure why. As far as I'm aware, some of it has to do with the geometry of this game. It's really hard to do stuff like clips, and the infamous barrel glitch is not doable in this version. So we're not really able to get around stuff on the overworld. So this run is a largely no major glitches category. Meaning that it is kind of a twist on the game's Superstar Saga's glitchless category, which we've never actually seen at Limit Break, so I am kind of excited to see this one in here. I also believe this is Superstar Saga DX's official first showing on the Limit Break channel, which does make me quite happy because I followed a little bit of the development of this entire series through the Mario and Luigi Discord over the years. Alright, so Reef just did an extra battle instead of getting as many overworld coins. And so he should now have 100 coins and be able to take on Tollstar's Toll. But Tollstar's kind of a jerk. It's like, whoever said anything about letting you go. So now he's a boss. I love the arrangement of the boss theme in this game. Some of the rearrangements of the soundtrack in this game are kind of hit and miss, but I'm really fond of some of them. So here, much of this fight is going to consist of using our bros attacks we've already been using. Now, all enemies in this game usually have a tell for what they do in combat for whoever they're going to be targeting. So a lot of this fight is pretty easy, and his attacks are well telegraphed. Now you see, Mario is thinking to himself here, when you use a bros attack enough times in this game, you unlock the advanced version of it. Now, in the original version of Superstar Saga, the advanced bros moves were essentially variations of existing bros moves. They're kind of weirdly tricky, and the game is kind of not the best at telling you about how they work. In this game, on the other hand, the game actually has advanced bros options as separate attacks. So rather than just selecting the original one and doing a different series of inputs, it's a different option in the menu. It's kind of, I think, a nice little quality of life change. Also, nice job on the swag jump. I think that jump's a little easier on this version, on the Game Boy Advance version. It's a little tight, but it saves you from having to spin across that little gap there. And so here we are on the village. I believe this is Hoo Hoo Village is what it's called. And immediately as soon as we enter here, we're confronted by a group of knights who are informing us that the prince of the kingdom of Bean Bean has gone missing and has probably been kidnapped. So they think we might be the ones who did it. This pipe right here is actually new to this version. It's not in the original, and we are going to have to come back here later in the game. So this is why he didn't pick up the pipe at the start of Stardust Fields. Anyway, here's Fawful just being a nuisance, and in order to impede our progress, he's just going to summon a rock shaped like a guard. It's kind of neat. I don't know. For whatever reason, it's the way this rock looks. It looks like like just kind of a stone guard statue, just holding its arms. Maybe that's not what it's supposed to be, but it's what it looks to me. Anyways, we need a means to cross the gap to get to the lower parts of Bean Bean Kingdom, but unfortunately, that pathway has been blocked off, and we need a way to break rocks. Conveniently, there's a pair of hammer-shaped bean dudes who, they've been working on trying to construct hammers, but unfortunately they don't have the materials that they need. And the materials they need are up on the top of the mountain. So it is up to us to go to the top of the mountain and get the stone that they need for their hammers. Anyways, I really like this area. It's a nice little first area to test out our platforming and movement abilities that we've unlocked throughout the course of this game. There's like one area of this game that really makes me think of Superstar Saga. To me, this is it. So here you can see one of the little mechanics of the game. Mario can load up on water, and you can use Luigi's high jump to make him spit it back out and and put things out like some sort of mobile fire hydrant. And this is going to create more tornadoes for Reef to use spin. Unfortunately, you cannot use Luigi for water. He just kind of spits it back out. Trying to dodge enemy encounters in this version can be a little bit, in this era can be a little bit tricky. I don't think it's quite as tough as it was in the Game Boy Advance version, but you really does not want to get into too many encounters because those just cause you to lose coins, and that's annoying. That being said, a lot of the strats in this run differ due to some balance changes. For example, a lot of the Game Boy Advance run revolves around picking up mushrooms because of a particular badge, and we're actually going to be seeing some different strats in this version that are not present in the original Game Boy Advance version because of these balance changes. So here, Reef is just solving a bunch of puzzles and making his way up the mountain. So if you have anything you'd like to say or read off, Selkuth, now's the time.
Absolutely, thank you. Been having a great time learning more about this run and the history of it. We have a donation here, $25 from Messenger Death with no comment, but thank you so much for that donation. And would like to just remind folks that we have some incentives for upcoming runs open. I know we've just started this one, but we do have incentives that you can donate to for the runs that are upcoming. For Ape Quest, there is a bid war to donate the Monkey Prince. Right now, Chadley is in lead at $10, but the next option is only at $7, so you could easily change the results of that with a donation. And as well, I want to highlight for Dragon Warrior 4, we have an incentive to meet Rosa. The goal for that one is $2,000. We got some time for that one, but consider that incentive when you make a donation.
So here we are in the game's second proper boss battle. I believe his name is Huhurus, and his whole gimmick is that he likes to hide under these rocks. So what you need to do is actually break the rock that he is not in, so that he doesn't immediately shoot over to the one that is still standing, and then summon another one. So now he's vulnerable. I had to do a little mini game beforehand, and what Reef is doing is actually guarding. This is an option exclusive to this version. Doesn't really change up too much on certain fights. He also picked up advanced bounce bros as well. But yeah, he's not really in any danger of dying here, so he doesn't really need to worry too much about taking damage here. But here he's doing the advanced bounce bros, and that is an attack that allows you to target multiple things. So he uses it on Luigi's turn to break the stone, because he only needs to do that much damage to break stone, as well as do additional damage to Huhurus here. And now he's using the advanced Splash Bros, which just does a little bit more damage to a single target. And that was a very clean fight in terms of Bros execution. But yeah, he didn't really need to worry about the damage that he takes over time, because we aren't going to be doing any optional encounters. How low his stats are is going to ultimately matter more, and you'll have to worry more about dodging. But yeah, that fight you can just guard. There are a couple instances where it does make attack animations slightly faster, so yeah. Okay, here he's doing actually an extra fight. I believe this is actually for the benefit of the route, getting EXP here. It's been a little while since I've read this game, so bear with me here. It is also important to note that while you can pick your stats, there is a little slot kind of wheel that you can also use to increase your stats as well. And here he's going for a little bit of a ledge clip there. There's not too many instances where it's useful, but it does save a little bit of time here. Kind of jank and hard to line up, but once you get it, you can skip a decent chunk of that room. And then doing another skip there to use the tornado as it's moving in midair on a different part of it to save just a touch bit of movement. And here we are at the top of the mountain. So as I was saying with the level ups, you can pick which stat you level up, and there's a little slot wheel. In this version, it actually can be influenced to where you ideally should always get 2 extra points per level after a certain point. The way it scales is if you always pick the same stat, it doesn't give you as many points, but there's a slot where you can always get a minimum of 2, and you're going to want to always try and go for a 2, which it scrolls slowly enough that you should be able to get it every single time and understand like the speed of the wheel. In fact, I actually think it's considerably quicker in this version than it is in like any other Mario & Luigi game. In the original Superstar Saga for the Game Boy Advance, it's actually pretty infamously inconsistent, so you just kind of have to hope and pray. So having it like doable in this version is nice. And so here, what just happened in the previous cutscene is there's this pterodactyl named Bobanodon who saw this egg on the top of the mountain. Normally, he lifts people to the top of the mountain, but he had been missing, and the reason why is he saw this egg and he wanted to help it hatch. But as soon as the egg hatches, it, attacks him and shoots him off of the mountain. And that's why we had to traverse the mountain rather than just, like, taking a free ride there. So this dragon enemy here, kind of known for some really annoying attacks on the Game Boy Advance version. Thankfully, the way it works in this game is a little easier. It's also going to be using a lot more of advanced bounce bros because it does more damage than regular bounce bros. The fact that it can target 2 enemies is nice in fights with multiple enemies, but if there's only 1 enemy, both attacks hit the boss, and they add up to more than standard bounce bros. So here, I guess he has his damage calculated so that he knows that he can use jump there to save a little bit of time on animations from having to do bounce bros. That is the Hoo-Hoo Dragon fight. So very well done. And as it is revealed, the dragon was actually the prince of the kingdom that those guards were looking for. So this is Prince Peasley, the dashing young lad that seems to awaken something in Luigi because Luigi like idolizes him for the rest of the game. Here he gives us a rose, which is kind of his signature, and it's what grants entry to the Bean Bean Castle, Bean Bean Castle of the basically this game's equivalent of the central castle of the kingdom. So while all that was happening, when Peasley hatched from the egg, there was a rock on the top of the mountain that was knocked into the water, and the waterfall carried the rock all the way back down to the town here. And the hammer guys are able to make us some new hammers. And this, of course, allows us to proceed through the rest of the game. So, unlike Paper Mario, you don't, in fact, start with a hammer in this game. But it is an essential puzzle-solving tool. So you can hit Mario with the hammer when he is loaded up with water, and instead of just shooting everything he has in him, you can basically make him spit like 3 water balls instead. He just switches to high jump because it's faster. Now here's a fun, silly little mini game. Works very similar to the way it did in Game Boy Advance. We're riding minecarts. Luigi's in the background, and he needs to make sure that Luigi and Mario don't hit any of the obstacles here. You need a minimum of 10 gems. I don't remember if they upped it in this version. In the original, there was 15. And so you can only take 2 hits or else you fail the minigame. Community admin and the last person to run Superstar Saga at Limit Break, all the way back in 2016, Alta Biscuit, has a bit of a running joke with this particular area, which is that someday sometime, somebody is going to fail this minigame in a run. Nobody has ever done it, and thankfully Reef didn't do it here. So today is in fact not the day. Someday it will be the day that somebody actually fails that minigame in a speedrun, and it would be very sad, because you have to do the minigame over again. It loses a lot of time, and that would be bad. But thankfully today is not that day. I got into an encounter he didn't want to get there. It's unfortunate. I think I said earlier that running away loses you coins. I might have been thinking of the Game Boy Advance version. Pardon me, it's been a little while since I've reviewed this game. So bear with me on that. Either way, getting into encounter loses time, and we don't want that to happen. So here he's equipping Mario with an accessory that increases his power, which is nice. Anyways, here we are in the Bean Castle town, and it has been absolutely decimated, and yeah, bad things happen a lot to this town. I do think the original version of this track is better in just communicating how dreary this place sounds, but yeah, nothing has been going right since basically the start of the game. These guards here, we try and say, hey, we're Mario and Luigi, and they're like, who's that? No idea. It's like, wow, you have impressive jumping skills. What does that mean? I don't know. And so naturally, Luigi presents the rose, which allows us to get in, which we probably should have done before anything else, but hindsight is 20/20. So here we find a, knocked, unconscious Bean. And if you're paying attention to the first minute of the run, you might recognize this character here. So this is Lady Lima. She was actually the one that the imposter from the opening cutscene who stole Princess Peach's voice, aka Cackletta. She was the one who was Cackletta was disguising as. Anyways, Lady Lima has been just kind of says that a whole bunch of things have been going wrong in town, and that the kingdom is, on high alert right now. So as soon as we enter here, she traps us in the sewers and says, if you need to prove that you're the world-famous Mario Brothers, prove it by doing some plumbing. Making this basically one of very few games that Mario and Luigi actually do their canonical jobs. And I kind of think that's hilarious. Here's a kind of silly and annoying little mini game to. You have to set this. You have to set all four of these switches in the right sequence, or else you can't get through. Thankfully, it's the same every time, but I don't know. This plumbing section is pretty simple.
Is now a good time for you to jump in with a couple of donations?
Yes, you can chime in for, let's say 2-ish, 2-3-ish donations.
Right. Well, hey, a good thing I have exactly 2 donations here. We have $11.10 from Furritskin.
Nice.
No comment, but thank you so much for that donation. And we have Airplane with $50. Again, no comment, but thank you again so much. Your money is going to a fantastic cause in National Alliance of...
Yes, so we are reaching our final day of RPG Limit Break, but we still have a nice series of amazing runs left for you today, so definitely get your donations in. We're climbing up there this year. So, essentially, we set free Lady Lima and, I guess one of her retainers, or vassals, or assistants, which kind of just begs the question of who was it that we met at the entrance here. Well, that happened to be Cackletta once again. And, so we just released the seal on something very very big deal, and we'll get the explanation for that in a moment. But this is Queen Bean Bean. She's been turned into sort of a massive brute against her will by Cackletta, and now she's, you know, basically it wants to fight anything that gets in her way. Now, the thing that the game typically wants you to do is attack her like massive fists, and then that will cause her to lower her guard and then her crown to fall off. You can't normally hit her head, but this is actually the same in both this version and the GBA version. Advanced Splash Bros actually pierces spikes, so that you can use Splash Bros here and do good damage to the Queen's head without having to attack the arms to, you know, free that spot up. Using a syrup here to replenish all of Mario, or most of Mario's BP there, because Bros attacks use quite a lot of it. Now, this fight's a little bit tricky. He wants to use Splash Bros here to do some damage, but Luigi doesn't have any means to do significant damage. What he's doing is using his hammer to knock the Queen a little bit away. It does a little bit of chip damage, which is nice, but the Queen's attacks become a lot harder to dodge the closer she is to you. So knocking her away basically, you know, makes the fight a little bit more bearable. If she gets up and close, it can be a real nuisance. And that's the end of the fight. Very well done. Now he's getting another badge. We'll get into badges shortly. Yeah, so fun story. When I played this game for the first time as a kid on the Game Boy Advance, I didn't realize the thing about attacking her fists. So I literally just used a hammer like 120 times. Because you only can do 2 damage with it in that version. She has quite a bit of health. Anyways, so the real Lady Lima here tells us that she swallowed a creature called, I can't remember if it's the Belly Belch or the Belly Blackworm, but it's what kind of caused her to, you know, grow to this massive size. And before we can really do anything, we're going to need to find a way to cure it. Really quick, this is a badge tutorial. This game has relatively simple equipment. You have your pants, you have badges, and you actually have like a different accessory slot in this version, I want to say, as opposed to just badges and equipment from the original version of this game. But we need to go find a way to remove the Belly Belchworm or Belly Blackworm. I can't remember which one it is. Unfortunately, the Japanese text, I don't remember what it is in this version. But anyways, the way to do that is we need to get something called Chocola Cola, or Chocola Cola. I don't remember exactly the pronunciation, but it is a very high quality soda that can basically induce the... induce it so that she can finally, you know, spit up the worm and return to normal. So here we have a little side game. It's an additional feature involving the amiibos. Yes, you can use amiibos in this game. So Reef here just showing off different stuff with the amiibos. This is in fact an amiibo run. And so in using the amiibos, he does gain access to a few really nice little items that he wouldn't otherwise have access to. So that just makes things a little bit easier because, you know, why not? And so here we're heading to an area called Chateau de Chocolhac. This is where the Chocola Cola is brewed. It's basically treated in this universe like a very fine wine. And the Queen's Brooch is the key to enter here, which is why we couldn't come here any sooner. So for anyone who's played the original Game Boy Advance version and seen the speedrun of the original Game Boy Advance version, this room would be a little bit of foreshadowing for what would be a very important part of the speedrun for both the any percent and all bosses category. But there's not going to be much barrel shenanigans in this category, for better and for worse. Now, who's that strange little fellow? Well, we'll explain him in just a moment. This is Popple, a bean like resident. He's kind of like a thief who just goes around messing with stuff. He's trying to steal some valuables here, and with him is a interesting fellow who looks similar to somebody, but is legally distinct from a certain somebody we know that shall not be named. Anyways, even the remix version, which I wouldn't say is quite as good as the original, but this is a banger theme, and I love it. This is Popple's theme. You're going to hear it a few times because Popple is a recurring boss in this game, usually with a minion by the name of Rookie. So this is Rookie, definitely no relation. And so he's actually targeting Rookie in these fights, specifically because even though he has more HP than Popple, defeating Rookie first causes Popple to chicken out and he just runs away. And so you only have to clear through one health bar rather than two. And so here he doesn't do a counterattack because it's just faster to guard. Here's an instance of him not leveling up power because he doesn't really need it as much as he needs to BP, because having to replenish BP is slow and use his turns. We'll get a little bit more into that later in the run as things go on, but the combat in this game is quite a bit different. These two fellas here introduce us to a pair of new abilities. There's... God, I'm like blinking on the names here, but what you can do is you can use Luigi to make Mario half-size. Kind of an homage to the original Super Mario Bros., where anytime Mario got hit, he goes to half-size. And then you can switch between the two, and Mario can hammer Luigi into the ground. And this will do a few different things. One, it allows him to burrow underneath gates. Two, it is basically one of the most consistent means to actually separate the two bros, which there are instances where you need to do that. Anyway, these guys just need us to get a pair of goblets, which... for the longest time, it threw me off because I used to confuse the word goblet and goblin, so I didn't know a goblet was a cup or a chalice. It's kind of messed up in our language, isn't it? The fact that goblet doesn't just mean a tiny goblin. Anyways, so now we have access to the abilities to put Luigi underground and make Mario small, and this is going to be useful for, well, essential actually, for puzzle solving. Once again, setting up a warp point here because he will be having to come back here later. So here's the infamous barrel. Sadly, we cannot do jank things with the sign here to write action commands, so there will be no pixel vomit or barrel shenanigans to skip huge chunks of the game. This would be about where the glitchless portion of the original Superstar Saga ends and where the game shattering begins. But we're not able to do that in this version because it is on a completely different engine. So this area is going to be done basically as intended. And I am pretty sure that the RPG Limit Break tech staff is thanking me very much for letting them know about this, because the barrel glitch in this game is known for doing some very, very strange things to your screen. Once again, using a power-up badge for Mario. There's a whole bunch of beans underground. This NPC wants us to collect them. The thing about beans in this game is there's actually a few different ways you can get beans in a casual playthrough. There's a whole bunch hidden throughout the world on these little markers on the ground. And that gets you one type of bean. There's a few that are hidden in blocks. There's a few that are given to you for repeatedly playing minigames. And I want to say there's one other, and I'm like forgetting exactly what it is, but you can turn them into drinks, which you can exchange for like valuable power-ups. So this is Wiggler. He doesn't have very much health, but if you're familiar with, I think actually several Mario games have this kind of NPC, this enemy. It works very similar to how he does in other Mario games, where you want to hit the different segments on his back. Here he's just doing a guard because instead of he doesn't want to counterattack because then he might turn one of the yellow ones red, and he doesn't want to do that because once all of the segments turn yellow, that's when the boss is most vulnerable. So here you see Chopper Bros. This is a new ability that you unlock once you get the ability to turn Mario small. So a new Bros attack that we've unlocked via story progress. The way it works is it launches Mario into the air, and there's a period of time where you can mash the A button and inputs like a bunch of different A inputs, and your attack damage. The amount of damage you deal is based partially on your strength and also partially on how many hits you get in. This was the bread and butter skill of the any percent speedrun, and to a slightly lesser extent, still a pretty big deal, the all bosses category, and also in the original, like, it was the essential skill of the glitchless category. Basically, because of one particularly busted item, Chopper Bros used to be the most busted thing in the entire game, and really what allows you to do way more damage than you should. Because that item has been nerfed, that being the mush badge, we have to find different ways to get damage for late game. We'll get into those as late game approaches, but Chopper Bros for now is still pretty useful. So that was a pretty solid Wiggler fight. He took one extra hit there that he probably didn't want to, but overall, pretty well done run so far. So that's kind of the mid-boss of this area. There's going to be a boss at the end, kind of infamously annoying boss. But, we need to go around collecting these 3 fruits in order to get past the tree blocking the back of Chucklehuck Woods, which is what this place is called. And back there is where we're going to find the Chocola-Cola that is being brewed. Anyways, so you have a little bit of time for donations or just host stuff, Selkuth. So take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to remind everyone that RPG Limit Break 2024 proudly supports the National Alliance on Mental Illness. To get involved in the fight against negative stigmas around mental illness, please reach out to NAMI via their state-level organizations, on Facebook where they can be found as NAMI, which is NAMI, or on Instagram and Twitter as @NAMI Communicate. Remember, it's not a weakness to need help. Please reach out if you feel like you need it. And absolutely do incredible work in all sorts of places. So seek out the help if you do need it. And if you're able to, donate to support their work.
Hammer! Hammer! Okie dokie. Hammer! Let's go!
So here, just whoops. Here we're just doing a little bit more puzzle solving involving switching up the bros. We're going to be doing a little bit more of that throughout the rest of the speed run here. But yeah, here's just a little race section, but he's basically already done a lot of it anyways. So he's just going to quickly solve this puzzle now that it's all set up. It's pretty lenient time window. And I believe that should be everything we need to do here. So this next boss is kind of just infamous for being really, really annoying. Naturally, since we've opened up the way, Popple and Rookie see their chance to steal the Chocola Cola. But of course, things don't go very well because the guardian of this place doesn't really want people departing with the cola. Anyways, this guy, the brewing process of this soda is very silly. He literally just stands here telling the soda jokes for years and years. Basically, just telling the soda, like, what does soda call its dad? Pop. Just really, really corny jokes. Anyways, they're not happy about being invaded here, so the soda literally attacks us. And I don't know, something about this boss gives me big Yoshi's Island vibes. Anyways, he has some really, really annoying attacks. So here he's using the Chopper Bros to try and, like, do enough damage. He wants to break down the boss's shield, and once that happens, the boss starts doing a different set of attacks. That, like, squirt gun attack is so annoying on the Game Boy Advance version. I think it's actually like a frame perfect dodge in some instances. Like, you have literally 1/60th of a second to time it, or you take damage. And by the way, since I did mention bad puns, we do encourage anyone to submit donations with their really bad puns. If you want to make me groan, I can do so for charity. Alright, so here's once again just using Chopper Bros and the other ability that he unlocked in this area, which we don't really get to see very much against Wiggler, but it's pretty useful in and of itself. This is Knockback Bros. Now, Knockback Bros, I believe, was also nerfed in this version. It used to be an attack that could go infinite, which means that as long as you timed your inputs, you could repeatedly do the attack over and over again. I can't remember if it's that you can't. I think you can only do 5 hits maximum in this version of the game. Either that or it's like it's infinite but inefficient. I believe you can only do 5 though. I'm like trying to make sure I remember all these things right. Sorry, it has in fact been a little while. So here Mario's considering advanced chopper bros, which works kind of weirdly in this version. And so here are the, I forget what you call a winemaker. There's a term for somebody who makes wine. It's not a sommelier, that's somebody who really likes to drink wine. Anyway, imagine that, but for soda. And he basically just tells it a bad joke, and that heals the boss, which, as I can personally attest to, is kind of a big, relatable mood for a lot of RPG Limit Break attendees who live off of bad jokes. But that's the Chicola Cola boss, and so now we can take the Chicola Cola that we just literally beat up and bring it back to the queen.
Let's go.
Vintner, or enologist, is apparently the term for a winemaker. Viticulturalist is another one I'm also seeing. All of these are true. Anyway, so yeah, they doesn't like us breaking into his chateau and knocks us into this little cave here.
どこ読んだって
Gotta do an ag counter we couldn't even see there. Nice critical. As Dragon Quest speedrunners would say, Kaishin no Ichigeki. Alright, so Mario fell into a barrel, and Luigi is just casually carnivaling his way back to the Mushroom Kingdom here. Mario is currently loaded up with soda, so we're going to do a bit of, I want to say this is what birds do to feed their young, but yeah, we're basically just gonna spit it into the queen's mouth. She's gonna gargle up the worm, and it's just gonna be set free. Anyway, this is the queen, and she is one heck of a lady. Enough to literally make the room shake as soon as she jumps. I love Queen Bean. She's great. She's a very, like, vibrant personality. Anyways, so now she goes to tell us what's basically been going on. So, sealed within the castle was the Bean Star, which is, because of course it's the universe of Mario, and it's also a game with the word Superstar in the name. But the Bean Star is essentially the all-powerful MacGuffin of this game that can grant a wish to whoever places a wish upon it. So naturally, Cackletta, being the evil villain in a cartoon universe, wants to rule the world. Here, once again, Reef is just setting up a war point to come back to the castle town later. I'm seeing somebody is doubting me on whether or not there is alcohol in the soda. I'm pretty sure it's actually soda in all versions, because that's just kind of what the Mario universe is like.
Straight.
Anyway, so here he's actually exchanging some of the beans that he's collected, turning it into a drink, and that's going to give him an accessory. Try to do a refresher here on the accessories. Anyway, this is a Luigi's Mansion reference. I kind of love it. This was a couple years after Luigi's Mansion. It's pretty traditional in the Mario RPGs that whatever like recent game had come out of the Mario universe gets a reference. In fact, in Partners in Time, Petey Piranha is a boss. But yeah, here's Egad and a ghost from Luigi's Mansion. Trying to do a refresher here on what this first accessory is. So this is the Greed Wallet. This is what allows him to get more coins in battle, because he is going to need money. And then the next one that he's going to get is the Bonus Ring, which allows him to get more EXP if he's able to win a fight without getting hit. So naturally, you can probably guess how getting more EXP in an RPG would be very beneficial. This next one he got is the Excite Spring, which allows him to hold jump in battle, which, you know, makes jumping to dodge attacks a little bit easier. And then the next one he's going to get is called Great Force, and Great Force doubles the damage that you give and take. So naturally, not all of these are particularly useful, but he does really want that additional damage and EXP. But back on the Beanstar plot, I guess for those of you who haven't played this game, the Beanstar gives the ability to grant a single wish. Now, despite the fact that we fixed the plumbing, which was apparently the trigger for setting the Beanstar free in the castle, which was what Cacoletta was basically after the whole time, she needs the voice of a pure maiden in order to awaken the Beanstar properly to get the wish. Yes, that was one of the other things he used the amiibo for. Thank you. He did in fact use the amiibo to also get some additional beans. Sorry, my knowledge of this rat is definitely a little bit on the rusty side. But anyways, this is why at the beginning of the game, Cacoletta stole the princess's voice, because she needs it in order to awaken the Beanstar. And the Beanstar has been moved to the southeast of the kingdom at a place called Huhu University, which is seen as the best place to perform the ritual to reawaken the Beanstar. So he did have a couple of extra beans from just stuff he's picked up, and he used that to increase his strength stat. Anyways, this is one of the creepiest and, in my honest opinion, darkest areas in this entire series. Do some pretty terrible things to these university students, as if high tuition isn't enough. So, in the all bosses category of this game, because we just skipped this at any percent, you normally would use a clip to just avoid most of this. Oh no.
Sorry.
Yeah, dodging the enemies here can be very scary. But there's this kind of lengthy puzzle that you need to hit these statues in a particular order, and that is going to call forth a laser. And then he wants to manipulate these mirrors to shoot the laser all the way to the one of the first screens of this dungeon. So that's really the gimmick here, is just fire a laser all the way back to the beginning and having to solve puzzles along the way. A lot of the puzzles here are quite annoying and not the most fun things to do. The enemies in this area don't make things easier. The viruses, shoutouts to Dr. Mario, are very annoying in their movement. One of the more interesting enemies in this game, and kind of one of the more neat little gimmicks, in line with Dr. Mario, when you fight the viruses, if you there'll be 3 different colors, the red, blue, and green, and if you turn all of them into the same color, they all just disappear instantly, regardless of how much damage you do. So here he's just has to do this little timed mini game to get enough presses here, and as you can see, it's off sync for the 2 bros, so this can be a little trickier. Thankfully, I think this is a little bit easier on this version than it was in the original Game Boy Advance. But yeah, he needs to hit 30 in 30 seconds. It's kind of screwed up, actually. At the beginning, you see there's one of the one of the like university students just collapsed on the ground, and if you talk to him, he turns into a virus. And like, the villains in this game don't mess around.
Hammer.
And so that's part one of the university down. This next part's honestly quite annoying.
Aye.
So, this is my personal opinion, but a lot of the creepy music in this game, I actually think the rearranged soundtrack did better. I know there's some people who insist that the rearrangement of the soundtrack of this game isn't great, and there are some tracks that I agree on, but I actually think they did really good with the more creepy tunes. The composer of the original game was Yoko Shimomura of Kingdom Hearts fame, as well as Live Alive, which was earlier this week in the marathon, actually, and several other games such as Radiant Historia, parts of the very first Xenoblade game, Street Fighter 2, Super Mario RPG. She's done a lot. And I believe she was brought on to do the rearrangements for this version as well as I think some other member of Alpha Dream, which, rest in peace, Alpha Dream. But yeah, original compositions were pretty great, and I think some of the remixes in this game are very good. Not all of them, but some of them are definitely very good, and I think this is one of them.
Aye. Oh, yeah!
Do we have a moment for a donation?
Absolutely.
All right, we have $5 from Nico, who says, "Why did the soda can go to therapy? I felt so depressed. Maybe listening to pop music would help it feel better. But you know what would help even more? Seeking therapy. Mental health is very important, and I appreciate all the work you do for such a great cause." Thank you so much for that donation, Nico. And yes, the National Alliance of Mental Illness serves as a preeminent resource for people searching for life-changing guidance, information, and support as they navigate their mental health conditions. And their website alone, which you can find at nami.org, serves over 12 million unique visitors annually. So incredible work that they do supporting.
I see what you did there. You tied it into the charity that we're raising money for, so that I look like a bad guy when I groan at the double 1-2 punch of the puns. Very
Thank you for
expertly
those
done.
puns. I
Yes,
love those puns. Thank you.
Thank you for your donation. Thank you for the puns, and thank you for the heartfelt message. So there you actually saw some, like, the virus mechanic. If you turn all of the viruses in a battle into the same color, they're just wiped out. So that was just a way to get through there. And so now we have to do a very silly little barrel mini game with Luigi. But also that frees the path for Mario to do the rest here. You do really want to be extra careful with the single bros, because normally if one bro dies, like is KO'd in battle, the other one can kind of run away. That's unfortunate. Here we have a Donkey Kong minigame. But if there's only one bro, he's extra vulnerable and he gets fewer opportunities to run away, or fewer turns.
Wait. Ah. ちょっと落ち着こう。
Classic case of trying to go too fast ends up leading to mistakes. There we go. First try. Definitely first try.
Mamma mia! Mamma mia! Wow!
I always thought that animation was really silly, but I kind of like it. There's one final puzzle section of this area to go. Honestly, I love this. I love that little animation. You see it throughout here and there of Mario and Luigi just embracing in a hug. like, at the end of the day, for how silly this game is, for how much they're hitting each other, they do love each other, and that's something I think that's actually kind of recurring throughout the Mario and Luigi series. It's like, we don't really see Mario and Luigi interacting with each other that much throughout the series, but they do genuinely care for each other, and I think that's sweet. I mean, there was also Luigi's Mansion, where Luigi basically faced his fears and risked his life just to get his brother out of a mansion, while also getting a sweet new house at the end, depending on how much you do. Alright, so that finally breaks the seal here on the back end, and this is where we're going to get to the main boss of this area. There are actually two bosses in this area, but the second one is definitely the easier of the two. I remember as a kid, I got walled on this fight so hard. So thankfully, since we are on, you know, more used to how it works, as well as, you know, well equipped for this fight, it's not going to be too bad. But yeah, there are a lot of fights that just kind of randomly walled me on this game as a kid. So here we are about to fight Cackletta and Fawful, and what they try to do is awaken the Beanstar using the stored version of the princess's voice. But unfortunately, it just, well, I guess fortunately for us, it just sets the Beanstar in a rage. Also, Luigi just slams Fawful into the ground. So here we fight Cackletta, the main villain of the game. And this is the advanced Chopper Bros. If you sequence it together, or if you sequence it really well, you can just do an kind of excessive amount of damage. With all the power-ups we got, that was a really, really quick boss fight. So here the prince just basically knocks Cackletta and Fawful just into the sky. And we need to go find the Beanstar, because we really do not want to let that into bad hands. So here we end at the back of the university, which I believe is supposed to be like kind of an ice area. I don't know, this whole area is kind of creepy. So, accidental encounter there. So we saw a little sample of this earlier, but there's a puzzle here where we need to time Mario's little spitball things to launch these little robo cars into the pipeline here. The last one doesn't slow down, and if you mistime it, you can end up launching it into the pipe and making it useless. So you'll have 4 attempts to get 2 successful hits, but Reef got it perfectly there. So here we see a familiar face of Popple and Rookie, which has always been his name. I love this little animation here, by the way. They push it aside, and then they like bow before they fight. It's so cool. There's just little bits of animation and personality there. So once again, really only need to focus on Rookie here. And this fight's kind of interesting in how it's different from the last one, because now they've learned Bros attacks. Also, Rookie has learned how to spit fire. So Luigi just coming up with advanced knockback Bros here. Is, again, not as bust as it was in the Game Boy Advance version, but it still has its uses. He does need to be careful with these attacks because he took damage in the Cackletta fight, mostly to end that fight quicker. So. So he basically knows that he's already close enough to defeating Bowser's Rookie. And so that ends the Popple and definitely not Bowser fight. So one of the robots falls into the screen and starts screaming with the wrong voice that is apparently enraging the Beanstar, sending it off into the sky. So Mario and Luigi, Popple, and Rookie all try to tail it, but it just kind of launches in the air. And then now Rookie has remembered he is in fact Bowser. What a twist! That shatters the Beanstar into 4 pieces, effectively ending that threat once and for all, definitely, for sure. And Mario and Luigi have crash landed on the Oho Oasis, I believe is what it's called. Almost every area in this game in the English version, I don't know what they are in the Japanese version, but in the English version they're all named after forms of laughter. So there's Oho Oasis, Tee Valley, which is the desert area, Chucklehuck Woods, etc. Anyway, this is the Joke's End theme, although we first hear it here. In the original version of the game, this theme is just really repetitive and mind-numbing. In this version, it is creepy, and I love it. So, sealed within this temple on the on this part of the island that we're on here is a pair of abilities with these weird totem-looking beans, or weird like ancient-looking beans. I don't know what they're called, but they're basically like sages that teach us Firebrand and Thunderbrand, which give Mario the ability to shoot fire and Luigi the ability to shoot lightning out of his hands. This is our third overworld ability. They're also going to be useful in battle at some point. They have some interesting properties, actually, in combat. They're also useful for solving puzzles. So first we got the fire one, now we need to go to the other side of the island and do the thunder hand puzzle. So this is just going to be cutscenes and explanations, so if you got anything, Selkuth, go ahead.
Absolutely, I do. We have a whole bunch of amazing prizes that some of you maybe haven't heard about yet because they just opened at the start of this run. I know we've been hearing a lot about the history of this game, the differences between the original and the remake. Well, if you want to learn more about RPG history, we have an RPG history book available as a prize, minimum $10 donation. Also for $10, there's a super cute Dragon Quest mimic plush. It looks extremely adorable, but as always, be careful with your mimics. They're dangerous. And of course, we have our cumulative prizes, the Buster Sword replica for a minimum of $250 across the entire week, or the Whale Lord plush for a minimum of $75 cumulative across. And of course, we are still taking more puns in donation messages for my pleasure and for GhostKumo's displeasure.
So kind of, because we have been touching a little bit on history, I do kind of want to give a bit of a shout out to just kind of the history of these games in general. This area is just themed around underwater puzzles, and yes, you can light things on fire despite being underwater. So the Mario and Luigi community was at its most active between 2016 and 2018. A lot of people running a whole bunch of different games in the series, besides Bowser's Inside Story, because for whatever reason, despite that one being the most popular game in the series casually, it is like by a wide margin the slowest of the speedruns, and people who tend to attempt to speedrun it don't usually run it that much. Or people who tend to like try to start speedrunning it don't run it that much because they run into all the mini games that they have to deal with. There's not a lot of skips in that run. And it's also by far the longest of the bunch. But we were at a pretty high activity, like heyday between like 2016 and 2018. And things kind of quieted down from there. But in the last few years, since 2022, there's been a bit of a revitalization. Some new stuff's found in a couple of different games. Some new strats being done. And Reef here actually has been a huge part of that, along with Tonkotsu, who is another Japanese Mario and Luigi runner. Runs a whole bunch of different games. By the way, this whole scene here, I love the 3DS animation here. They make this look so intimidating. Like, this is one of the scenes they do very well. But Cackletta and Fawful were basically beaten to within an inch of their life. Fawful barely able to move, and Cackletta not even maintaining a physical form anymore. Fawful sealed it into his headgear, and Cackletta needed a new body, and the nearest one happened to be Bowser. So, basically not really having much choice, she is now taking over Bowser's body, as he was knocked unconscious and sent to Stardust Fields. Anyways, back on the story. Reef has, like, swept a ton of records for these games. Him and Tonkatsu were in a battle for record for Paper Jam and for Dream Team for a while. This game, Reef has also recently taken record at, like, I think he just recently set his most recent record at like a 3:14, so he's been putting in the work across the series, but definitely I would say the one that he's done the most in is Partners in Time. And that game had been relatively inactive for several years, and in the last year or so, he has pushed a record for any percent down, I want to say like 13 minutes. So just dedication, a ton of work. Like, Reef has been doing a very, very clean sweep of many of the different games in this series, as well as also doing some good work in Superstar Saga Original for the Game Boy Advance. So the gist of what's going on here is that we are welcoming Princess Peach back to the Mushroom Kingdom, but unfortunately her plane cannot land because the runway has been infected by these piranha plants. So what you need to do to get rid of the piranha plants is spit water into them to kind of like water them up, and then hit them with electricity, which basically just causes them to shoot back into the back into their pod. Eventually this egg is going to hatch once we clear out the piranha plants from the runway, and that's going to be the next boss. Extremely annoying boss in casual playthroughs, one that walled me quite a bit when I was growing up. So the way the boss works is she has a couple of ads, just these additional little plants that will attack you, but for each one that she has up, it's going to do The game feed froze on me for a second there. Might be just something to do with our settings. Anyways, game feed's back. For each one she has up, she heals an additional 10 health. So the actual best strat is to clear out one of them and then, like, make it so she heals less for casual. But since we have really good advanced bros attacks here, it's just better to, like, out-damage the boss. Taking a hit there is a little unfortunate. But, I might have misspoke. I don't actually think we need the extra EXP because the accessory for power is just so important. Doing double and taking double damage. Because doing double damage, ideally we don't get hit. Anyways. So here you see them healing the boss. Very annoying thing that they do, but if you do as much damage as we do at this point of the game, we can significantly out-damage her healing. It is worth noting, I believe the eggshell on her head makes it so that it's hard to, like, you can't do like Splash Bros damage. It doesn't just do that much damage. So casually, I would usually just use elemental hands for this. But yeah, since you have the upgraded, since you have Chopper Bros and the upgraded, you have like the upgraded Bros attacks here. You just do so much damage that you don't have to worry about the boss that much. Also, Luigi just crushes the piranha plant with his butt. Kind of a flex, I'm not gonna lie. Also, shoutouts to this overworld theme. I think it's one of the better remixes in this game. I'm gonna say that about a lot of things. I just love Yoko Shima's work. One of my favorite composers of all time. I really do think, except for a handful of tracks, most of the rearranged tracks in this game were very nice. So here we find out, actually, that this whole thing that went on at the beginning of the game was a ruse, and that the actual ambassador for and the prince foresaw the explosive. They saw, you know, Cackletta was up to no good and wanting to steal the princess's voice for the Beanstar, and instead, they stole the voice of an imposter themselves, so they also got impostered. And it was just Birdo, who we will definitely not see any more of in this run. But in fact, the real princess was hiding and did not have her voice still at all. So that was not able to awaken the Beanstar, and that's why the Beanstar freaked out and just exploded, because it was not the voice of a pure-hearted maiden. Although, if you ask me, I think Birdo is fine as she is. Anyways, so now the princess wants to head over to the embassy for the Bean Kingdom, which lies in the northeast part of the Bean Kingdom, which is called Little Fungi Town, or Fungi Town. Well, it says Fungi Town. I think it's Fungi Town, but anyways, I insist on calling it Fungi Town, even if that's probably wrong. So, the two Hammer Bro guys that make hammers are informing us that they set up shop here in the east part of town. I don't think they tell you this in the original game, so they put this in here to just, like, let you know that this is a thing. But yeah, if you go here now that we have Thunderhand, they can upgrade our hammers. And this is going to allow us to break sturdier rocks. In most of the glitch categories of the original game, we don't get these because we just glitch past things. But we need the upgrades for a glitchless playthrough. But also, there's a mini game here. And what this gets us is a pair of Bros attacks that are not actually obtained in any category of the original version of the game. They're a bit odd in their animations, and I do think in casual playthroughs, other versions of them are better. But this is where we get Swing Bros, which is the optional bros attack, and it actually becomes our main damage dealing bros attack for parts of the run. So what he's doing here, by the way, is across the kingdom are these bean fruits, I believe is what they're called. Buried in 7 different parts of the Bean Kingdom is these bean fruits, and we need to collect 7 of them for a later side quest. But so he's picking up any of them that he runs into along the way, so it's quicker when he has to collect them later for an essential story part. Some people disagree with me on this one, but I will say I love this Teehee Valley remix. So here we are in a desert, and in the original, there's kind of like this strings arrangement, but it's like 16-bit Game Boy Advance music. So here we're going to see Swing Bros. It's a very silly looking animation. Very simple one, but does so much damage. And I believe his goal is to get the advanced version of it as quickly as possible. So he's going to be using it whenever he has a good opportunity. Now, you might have seen he actually leveled up Mario's speed instead of his power. This is because Swing Bros actually uses Luigi's attack stat. In fact, both of the final Bros attacks use Luigi's attack stat. Which means that Mario's attack stat doesn't matter that much anymore for most things. And so he can just level up speed, which means if he gets into an encounter, Mario will go first and he can run away, stuff like that. Speed's just a generally nicer stat for getting in more inputs, now that he doesn't have to worry about how much damage Mario is outputting, because it doesn't really matter. Anyways, yeah, the original is like a strings arrangement with a I forget what kind of flute you call it, but this flute's more like an ocarina. But what it kind of makes me think is like a whistle from like a spaghetti western, and I think that's why I really like it, because it makes me think of like old western films. So this part's really annoying in casual play. You have to actually escort the princess around the desert, and if she ever gets too far away from you or walks into an enemy, aw, unfortunate. Normally Mario can take care of these guys, but yeah. So here he's gonna talk to the princess to
Oh, safe. Pretty cool.
send her backwards, and then yeah, Mario can pierce enemy spikes now, by the way. I believe that's his badge that he has equipped that does that. The attack animations for enemies in this game get really neat. Anyway, so yeah. Sorry, I was about to... Yes. So we're just escorting the princess. It's very slow. The only reason he's fighting enemies is to just clear them out so that they don't kidnap her, take her down to the pipe, and, force him to do his whole annoying little time loss. So yes, you have time to read stuff. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. We have a whole bunch of $50 donations. We have $50 from Mechalink with no comment, but thank you so much for the donation. $50 from, who says, Hammer Thunder. Thank you so much for that donation. And we have $50 from Gearless Robot, who says, hey there, really looking forward to my run tomorrow, but in the meantime, put this $50 towards Rosa being used for the final boss, because I'd really like to see how that works. And what Gearless Robot is referring to is the incentive for Dragon Warrior 4, where we have an incentive to meet Rosa. We got a little bit of time still to meet that, but of course, as always, when you go to make a donation, don't forget to scroll down and assign your donation to an incentive, or you click submit.
So it is important to note that even if he does clear out all of the enemies, if Peach gets too far away, some enemy just comes off screen and just takes her away anyways, so... So here he's just sending her backwards so that he has enough time to go and get the barrel. And then now I can use that to hit this switch here. And I believe that is the last part of this escort mission, which thankfully was without any critical errors. There was the one little hiccup with the enemies there, which was kind of slow, but he was able to make it work. But before we can finally reach the end here at Little Fungi Town, or Fungi Town, I like to say fungi, that sounds nicer. Sorry, there's one more screen. I'm like blanking on something here. I feel like the end is like on the right side, and that's where I got that mix up. Yeah, there's one last part here. So again, trying to not lose track of the princess here. Thankfully, the way that she moves is enough to that this Goomba here does not get her. I'm blanking on the name of the Goomba. They have like a special name. Anyways, Teehee Valley is known as the place where we do the big skip in the Game Boy Advance version, because we come back here really late in the game, and there is actually a way to get there from using glitches, but since we don't have those glitches here, we just have to play through those two sections normally. Of course, the nice thing is that we do get the extra EXP to level up.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the boss that is blocking the way to Fungi Town. His name is Trunkle, and he's very annoying. Really high defense, obnoxious to try to do damage to.
Okie dokie.
I never get tired of this boss theme. So using Chopper Bros to... This is a boss where... Oh my god. The lucky there was nice. Oh my god. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Casually, the boss is a pain. And the speedrun is pretty easy. In fact, actually, I believe Ref got the lucky in his PB as well. So normally what you would have to do is like do enough damage to break him into his little components and then hit like the correct one to finish him off. But so that fight would take like more attacks than it actually did, but he did enough damage that you just one-shot it. So this little mini game has a very small cameo from Geno from Super Mario RPG from the time before they actually knew whether or not like anything to do with Super Mario RPG would ever happen again in the original. It was later released on Virtual Console. Nintendo and Square mended their relationship and even released a Super Mario RPG remake, which was in this very marathon. So he has enough points here to clear out this minigame. He only needed to get 200 for the sake of story, so we have a bit of time for host read.
Absolutely. I want to send shout outs to the people involved in our foreign language restreams. Our French restream can be found at twitch.tv/LaFrenceRestream, and our Japanese restream at twitch.tv/Japanese_restream. If those restreams can help you better enjoy the marathon, please go check them out and send them some love. of course, our current runner is Japanese himself, and so we love having an international community here. Love having these restreams.
Yes, actually. So, you mentioned that.
Oh yeah.
The commentator for this game for Japanese restream is Tonkatsu, who ran Dream Team and Paper Jam, the previous 2 RPG Limit Breaks. So it's kind of nice that we've been able to have both Reef and Tonkatsu in the last couple years of the marathon, as they're the 2 runners who have most actively really been pushing these games in the last couple of years. And a lot of new strats have been found, a lot more of optimizations, but they've also just been bringing these games down during what has been an otherwise relatively quiet period in the speedrunning history of Mario and Luigi. So it's kind of cool that we were able to see both of them get these runs in. I believe Tonkatsu was actually also on the backup list for the original Superstar Saga. And he also ran that at AGDQ this past January. Anyway, so what's going on here? We played a mini game to kill some time, which is actually an essential plot thing. But we played a mini game that gave us like a special shroom, but Mario got really sick because eating food in another country can make you get sick if you're not used to it. I forget what they call that phenomenon, but like, yeah, it's just sometimes eating food outside of your culture can leave you that you're not used to can do things to your digestive system. It made Mario very sick. So, he's been given like a specific condition. I don't remember exactly what its name is, but the doctor suggests that we, in order to cure him, we need to go into the desert and find I'm like blanking on the name. I think it's like Guahar crabgrass or something. But Luigi needs to go and find it himself. He's too scared to do it, but a wizard convinces him that he is in fact Mario and gives him the courage to go and save his brother. So Luigi is going solo for this section, which, as I mentioned, you ideally don't want to do too much with Luigi solo. Krabby Ras, that was its name. I'm just like refreshing myself on the name of it, but it's it cures Mario's fever, but it's only available at the end of this area called the Guffaw Ruins, which the idiot doctor says something akin to like, people go there and they're like eaten alive, and of course naturally Luigi being kind of a scaredy cat, it frightens him, the idea of doing it, which is why he needs the little confidence boost to think that he is in fact Mario. Yeah, if Mario doesn't get cured, he would in fact turn into a bean. And that's bad, for obvious reasons. Here's a bunch of like timed platforming sections. There's another one coming up here soon, just carefully dodging enemies.
Dangerous.
Here's just this kind of peculiar little puzzle involving raising platforms. Surprisingly, I believe you're not actually able to jump up from the mid portions. It's actually a higher jump than you can make. forgot the area of this name because I mix it because I knew it started with a G, but I mix it up with the Guahar Lagoon, which is where we go later. But this is Gafar Ruins. Anyway, this mini game is a little tricky. You don't have full control over your jump, and you need to avoid getting hit by this guy's. He starts spitting up these like fireballs, and we need to last this entire time. And you can only either jump or jump straight up, or to the platforms to the left and right. And usually jumping to the left is like really bad. You don't want to do it. So, nicely done, first try. Not a super hard minigame, but can be a little tricky, especially for a casual playthrough. So, now we have the crabby grass, and there's conveniently a pipe back to Little Fungi Town up here. Normally in the GBA version, I actually use one of the pipes back into the desert to perform the big skip. Anyways, Luigi's trying to return the crabby grass to Mario, but he gets struck by lightning, remembers who he is, and then remembers that he's Luigi. And then, as he's trying to cross the bridge, he is attacked repeatedly by lightning, and this toad here informs us that something has happened to the princess, because the princess really can't go unkidnapped for very long. So it's Bowser, except it's not the original Bowser, it is in fact Bowletta, the combination of Cacletta's spirit and Bowser's body, and they have now kidnapped the princess. So we need to get Mario cured and head back to the Bean Bean Castle town to figure out what to do next.
Wow. Whoa, Mama. Wow.
And so here Lady Lima gives us a, I guess like a Star Wars-esque hologram video recording. And, excuse me, basically tells us that we need to go and collect the 4 pieces of the Bean Star in order to get the princess back. She's basically using the Bean Star as like our ransom payment to get the princess back. So the first piece of the Bean Star is located in a section of the of Teehee Valley that we need to head off to. And although the map does show that there are 4 of them, we can't actually get any of them until we do this first part. So off to the east here is a ship that has been basically like marooned here for like an obscenely long time, to where basically everyone on the crew is a bunch of ghosts and skeletons. But of course, the immediately as soon as we get here, the crew decides to take the part of the Bean Star, so we need to go into the ship and get it back. This NPC runs away because he's too afraid to challenge the little barrel mini game here. Like, I want to say this is based on like some old puzzle game. Like, there's a part of me that wants to say like Wario's Woods, but I don't quite think that's right. Anyways, you basically have to slide the barrels around to where you can line up a complete row of 6 of any one color barrel. You have a very lofty amount of time for this, thankfully, so he only needs to clear 10 barrels to clear the minigame. If you want more beans, you can clear more. It's not super difficult, but yeah. So while he's working on this mini game, you have time to read some stuff out, Selkuth?
Absolutely. I would like to shout out one of our sponsors, Deck 13. Have a message for us. Blah, blah, blah. Some marketing speech here about how great we are. Honestly, who cares? Yes, we publish games, and you should only care for the games. Enjoy our games, wishlist them, and support cool indies. Big Look at Drova, Spindle, Elements Destiny, Chained Echoes, and Crosscode. And thank you so much for sponsoring this event and helping make it possible.
Yes, indeed. We did have Chained Echoes earlier on in the marathon, so that was it's kind of a relevant sponsor. So, honestly, it's been a pretty neat week of runs so far. I've been around for at least a few of them. Had a good time with we had Custom Robo by another Japanese runner by the name of Bomb Bomb. Kind of an underloved game that was a lot of fun to couch for. Was also around for Bot and Kaidos. Had a good time with that. Caught part of the Pokemon Let's Go run we just did. That one was pretty cool. Live Alive was really neat to see. Just a great week of runs. I'm definitely excited for the upcoming run of Ape Quest. That game is a very bizarre one. I did not realize the Ape Escape series had an RPG. And then
So speaking of Ape Quest, we do have an incentive open for that run.
Yes, we do.
That could use a little bit more love. Right now, there are 4 names for the Monkey Prince. Open Chadley, Silk, Monkey Scream, and Raquel. But right now, the highest bid one is Chadley at $10. So if you want any of those other names to win, or you want to suggest your own name, all it takes is just a few dollars, and you potentially could get the Monkey Prince named the name of your choice.
Anyways, now that he's all done with that mini game, which you can clear so quickly, and you have enough time, he's able to do a bathroom break. Now he finally has access to the hull where he can go and collect the Beanstar piece. Alas, he doesn't want to give it until they can free their crewmate, who is stuck in the back because he found their supply of Chocola Cola. And yeah, we need to set him free. We want to get the Beanstar piece.
Wait. I'm a bit. Oh.
So we've dropped a set of dynamite to blow up the walls to create enough of a crack to let him through, and he is now free, except the built up pressure from all of the fluid in the background just causes the ship to just shoot out into the ocean. I love this scene. It's really silly. Anyways, now we are once again left swimming in the ocean. But this opens the path to our next area, which is Guahar Lagoon. This is one of the tracks I do think was a little better in the original. The enemies here are also really annoying to dodge. So here using the Thunder Hand power and Fire Hand powers pretty frequently to do some puzzles. Kind of not a particularly involved section of the game. This place has really good music.
Yeah, no problem.
Nice. So these three girls have just been kind of a part of this scenario. They're just wandering around the beach looking for cool stuff to do and see. And that eventually comes up a little bit later. But here we go to it's like a massage house or something like that. And for 200 coins, we can get a massage. This is actually, in fact, necessary because, we'll see here in just a second. We have conveniently color-coded chairs for our jellyfish-looking masseuses. And they see that our hands just look absolutely worn out. And they use their massage magic only to find out that we can summon fire and lightning from our hands. And so they, as two fellow practitioners of the Fire and Thunder brands, decided to give us a couple of new moves.
Oh yeah.
The first of which is basically what this does is it allows Luigi to shock Mario, and the two of them can move with Luigi kind of controlling Mario with his hand, allowing them to slip through certain sections. And then Mario can use fire on Luigi, which causes them to run at an accelerated speed, and certain things that they bump into, you can't normally hit them with your hammer, but if you ram into them at full speed, it knocks them aside. And so, as is tradition for Mario and Luigi, once you get a new ability, you're forced to actually use it. So here's a couple of sections that sort of effectively serve as the little tutorials. You actually see these Koopas around the Bean Kingdom, and you can't really get past them, but now that we have the ability to knock them down, you can actually go around the Mushroom Kingdom and get past them and there's usually a bunch of nice little accessories and items.
Thunder.
There's also these Boo statues, which are kind of tricky because they work similar to Boos from the Mario series, where if you look at them, they go invisible, so you need to actually push them backwards without looking at them. It's kind of a neat little puzzle idea, in my opinion. And so here you see a section where the game wants you to use Thunder Hand to move the Mario Brothers through there, but it's actually slightly more effective to just stack them and move around. I think in the original you couldn't move around with the stacked bros, but you can in this version. I believe has to do with the Dream Team engine allowing you to do that, because they basically just use the same ability as from Dream Team. He hasn't gotten into too many accidental enemy dodges. A lot of the skill development of this run is minimizing the number of encounters you get into in this run, so a lot of them are harder than they look. So here he's actually using Spin Bros for something they would normally have you use Fire Bros for. We did also unlock a couple of new bros attacks for combat, but they aren't especially useful. Some of them are like conditionally so. I think Thunder Bros, if I remember right. I don't remember if it's this version, but I do remember in the original, in certain fights, you can use it to lower enemy defense. Fire Bros, just you hit an enemy multiple times, but it's only really useful if enemies are weak to fire. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of puzzles we have to go around doing that involve using Fire and Thunder Bros on the overworld to create this bridge.
While we're doing that, can I jump in with some donations?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, we have $25 from Anonymous with no comment, but thank you so much. And we have $35 from Red Silvers, who says, just throwing in donations for FF4 names coming up. That's right, Final Fantasy IV is one of the runs that is coming up later today. And of course, we do have Bid War 4 names there. And you can check out all of our incentives when you go to donate. Oh, and I just want to add that, chat, we are less than $75 away. We are less than $75, $73 to be precise, away from $60,500. You think we can get there before the end of the run? That's my personal challenge to you, chat. I think we can. I think we can get to that goal by the end of this run.
Yep. We do have as well a couple of incentives for Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest 4 that I'd love to see get met. That is unfortunate. Fortunately, it's not really something you can high jump over, so he has to restart the puzzle because of a missed input. Unfortunate, but it's not a huge time loss. It's just like have to redo this whole puzzle.
While we're doing this section, would you like some more information about those Dragon Warrior 4 incentives?
Sure.
All right, we have a whole bunch.
No problem.
We have one for what animal transformation is going to take place. Right now, Cat is in the lead, but not by a whole lot. You could influence that very easily. There's also one to meet Rosa and to power up the Zenithian sword. Hope I said that right. Also, there's a drink for Walt and a whole bunch of other bid wars to do things like name the hero, select the hero's gender, all these different things. I also see one involving a dog that has no donations yet. So go donate and scroll down and take a look and see what option.
There's been an awful lot of cats. There's been an awful lot of cats this week. There's even an Eevee. There's even an Eevee, which I'm still not sure what exactly that is. Not a lot of definitively dog things this marathon. So I'm always down for dogs.
Chat, I think you can fix that.
What she said.
So here we can finally fight the boss of this area. So this is Hermie, who found the Beanstar piece that flew off of the ship when it sank. And because his tree is decorated like his shell is decorated like a Christmas tree, he uses it as the star atop his shell to look fancy. And all the girls love him. Then they immediately say like, "Oh my god, is that Mario?" And you know, they swarm around in like a bunch of fangirls, and then Luigi finds that he actually has fans in this universe, despite him being kind of a joke character in this game somewhat. Actually, that makes Hermie very upset that we are stealing all of his attention. He calls us, quote-unquote, stupid, with a TH. So here's Swing Bros, yet again, just going to do an absurd amount of damage. Normally in this fight, you're supposed to, Hermie likes to go into his shell, and he also likes to attack you with his claws. Okay, so here he's using Thunder Bros. And that actually hits all targets. It does make him very angry, though. Sometimes he'll go into his shell, and you'll have to hit him with fire to send him out. and he also heals, so it's really annoying. And so lighting him on fire is the way to get him out.
Let's go.
Yeah, timing on those attacks is really janky, so him getting the dodges is not as easy as you might think. Also, every time you attack him without clearing the claws there, he kind of goes into a rage and does a counterattack. Anytime you see an enemy have like an exclamation mark over its head and then it attacks, it's actually a counterattack for certain actions that you do. So yeah, our stats are so low, and since we take double damage, even doing this on easy difficulty, like, he does need to be careful to not take too many hits because he can die. And so that's Hermie. We beat him up. The fangirls decided to give us his
Battling.
give us the Bean Star piece, and now that we have all the powers we need, we can go collect the remaining 3. Normally in the any percent version of GBA, you'd actually kind of do this area in reverse. It's really, or not 80%, the all bosses version, sorry. You do this area in like reverse. It's kind of weird. So here he's just healing up the bros because they've been using a lot of BP and he doesn't really have a good opportunity to heal, so he's just going to give them syrup for the upcoming fights. And so the next Bean Star piece, we're going to run into a familiar face here, but first there's going to be another mini game. So here's this Koopa that was blocking the way earlier. We're taking him out and going off to this kind of like secret part of Chuckleheck Woods. And the pipe here is also why he set that up earlier. There's like, I think 11 or somewhere between like 11 and 13 pipes in this version of the game. There's originally only 9, but they added more in the remake. And those are your fast travel points around Bean Kingdoms. It's not a very big map to begin with, but like the fast travel is just really nice. So here we have kind of a silly, cheap little mini game. It's not really that complicated or hard to do, and if you get the golden mushroom, you can just like launch an attack back. Yeah. Very simple mini game, not really that complicated. So, send it over to the host. You got a moment?
Absolutely, thank you. Would like to just remind everyone that the RPG Limerick is proud to partner with the Yeti, who have designed 3 exclusive t-shirts and an enamel pin for this year's event. If you'd like to see these awesome designs, please visit theyeti.com/rpglb and check them out. Remember, these items will only be available for the duration of the marathon, so get yours before it's too late. Today is the final day, so if you want to get those items, it's your last day to get them.
I actually really like the designs we have this year. We don't have like we don't have like a large number, but like the Earthbound one and the FF6 one are really cool. Plus, we also have the standard RPG Limit Break design shirt, and I really like what they did with theirs for this year. So those are some really awesome shirts if you're interested.
Okie dokie.
Are super cool. The pin is lovely too.
Yes.
Let's go.
Anyways, this is Popple. He was trying to steal the Beanstar piece, snuck by, and this fight, we actually do have to take him out because it's just him by himself.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go.
Anyways, Popple's not really that complicated. He has a very time-consuming attack, which kind of stinks to see, which is unfortunate. But yeah, he doesn't have a lot of health, so pretty easy fight to deal with.
Let's go. Oh yeah.
So the next area we have to go to, so this is actually the part where we're starting to see why he's, this is actually the part where we see why he's collecting these fruit. This one's on the way to a, one of the Beanstar pieces, which is held by this like shirt designer, and you need to design some shirts for him to get it. You also picked up another fruit, and what we need to do is get, I believe there's 7 fruits scattered across the hub world of the Bean Kingdom. And you need to give them to these Yoshis. And then once you give all 7 to the Yoshis, that's where the final Beanstar piece is. So that's why we have to go around collecting those. Anyway, this guy asked us to make some shirts, and we got to do some timed mini game with hitting Mario with water to knock shirt design bombs into the shirt. It is a very silly mini game, and it is very timing based, but I don't know, I think it's kind of fun, honestly. So, with each one of these, he asks for a specific color and design pattern here. For the first one, I believe he only asks for like a specific color. Then there's one that's like he wants like a shirt with a specific color and a specific design. And the thing about it is it uses like basic color patterns. So, when you combine like red and blue together, it gives you green, or sorry, purple, because that's what he wants. So this last one, he wants purple and a star, and you can make a star by combining red and blue, or sorry, by combining 2 of the like patterns, like a polka dot and a checkerboard pattern. So, sorry, I think I'm getting the sequence wrong. I might be remembering from the Game Boy Advance version, but yeah. So here he needs orange and a star. Or, yeah, brown and a star, my bad. Like, misremembering the sequence here, but yeah, so you need, it's kind of a weird little thing. We have to kind of time it right and get the right patterns. So that's the 3rd Beanstar piece, and now we're going to go on the hunt for the 7 of the 7 fruits, of which I think we have 3 right now. One of them is in kind of a rather awkward spot, although like there's like the indicator on the ground for where it is. It's not actually where it's originally supposed to be. The gist of what you're supposed to do is go to this movie theater, and there's this NPC that like tells you where all the fruits are buried. But since we basically already know where it is, and it's like you don't have to trigger that to start the hunt. Reef already knows where all the fruits are, so he can just go and get them without having to talk to that NPC. I really do like this arrangement of the overworld theme. It's really neat. Yeah, so this NPC here's whole thing. Sorry, I believe I misspoke. Yeah, we do still have to go here. But this whole NPC's thing is he wants us to have a decorative sign, and he uses the Beanstar piece as like a decoration. Of course, we can't let that happen because we need to save the princess. So what he wants is 7 Yoshi eggs to decorate the sign for the Yoshi Theater, basically. There's 7 Yoshis. They're all hungry. They will lay an egg if you give them the fruit, so we need to collect the fruits. Also, I love this animation where he literally does the Yoshi's Island like launch attack animation to his like assistant who keeps trying to tell him things that he doesn't want to hear. Normally you are supposed to hit that switch and spin jump across, but you can just barely make it with a spin without having to do that, saving just a little bit of amount of time. Anyway, here's one of the more annoying fights in the game. This fight doesn't actually count as a boss for this game's all bosses category. But yeah, so there's a fruit here that this piranha bean eats, and this fight is real annoying. He is weak to thunder, so you can use that, but because you don't have bros attacks, you don't have a lot of damage. At least in the original. He's kind of super powered and just cracked up for this version. Yeah, so he just takes 2 hits. Normally it takes a lot more hits in the original. But yeah. In this version he's kind of just overpowered. Anyways, also the this part's kind of funny. So the piranha bean actually ate Prince Beasley and spat him up in the fight before eating him up again, but he's been shrunk down, so Luigi decides to hit him with a hammer, which seems like a really bad idea to hit royalty with a hammer, but he gives permission so long as he doesn't mess up the hair. God, Beasley has so much style. So that's how we get the fruit. And he's off on his whatever you call his hoverboard. He's cool like that. And Luigi is very jelly.
Let's go. Aye.
So now we just have to go around collecting the remaining Beanstar pieces around the kingdom here. So, Selkuth, if you have anything you wanna go ahead and read off, go ahead.
Absolutely. Chat, we are only $67 away from reaching $60,500. Still some time on the run. I think that'd be a really cool milestone to reach by the end of this fantastic run. But also, you may have noticed us talking about incentives and prizes. That means that via your generous donations, you get to potentially name characters, make our runners complete difficult or ridiculous tasks, or help pick which story you get to see in certain games. You can also become eligible to win numerous prizes donated by community members. Remember that 100% of your donations go directly to the National Alliance on Mental Illness. For more information about all this, you can check channel bio here on Twitch, and I believe on YouTube as well, for a link to the 2024 tracker, which has all the information you need to know about this. And we did have a donation just come in, $10 from Blue Undertones with no comment, but thank you so much for that generous donation.
I seem to have misspoke again. So we do have all the Beanstar fruits, or the bean fruits. So now we just feed the Yoshis, get our eggs, and that'll be how we get the fourth and final Beanstar piece. And so that leads us to what is effectively the path to the second to last dungeon of this game, and probably the longest, most complicated, and least liked in this game, really. But there's some cool parts to it. And as I said, the arrangements of the music for this game, some of them weren't quite as good as the originals, but there's some that I definitely think were enhanced by the remaster soundtrack. And this next dungeon theme is absolutely one of them. So now that we have the 4 Beanstar pieces, we need to reassemble the Beanstar and head back to the Bean Castle to figure out our next course of action. So we get another message here, and Bowletta is informing us that if we head over to the northeast, that is where she is waiting for the exchange. We're going to exchange the Beanstar for Princess Peach, but obviously we can't really let that happen, so Peasley decides to hatch up a plan. He also hands us like 99 million Mushroom Kingdom coins, which, due to the way inflation is scaled, is worth 99 Bean Kingdom coins. The economy has really gone down the toilet since our princess has been kidnapped. Sometimes I wonder if maybe Bowser isn't actually kidnapping the princess because he likes her. He might just be trying to short the stock of the economy or something silly like that. It's like, how do you think he funds his castle? Anyway, he's doing a quick equipment swap here, just to make things a little bit more impactful going forward. And so, really quick, we come back here because these hammer guys have found a new technique to give us an even better hammer. This right here is just kind of a fun little way. To cross the sea, we need to actually knock Luigi into these little panels and then turn him into a surfboard. It's as silly as it sounds, and it's kind of great. So something that's actually kind of nice about this version, doesn't really matter too much for runners since we already know the layout, but there's actually a map on the top screen, I believe. I don't remember which one's top and which one's bottom offhand, but there's a map here that you can actually use to follow along so you don't get lost while surfing. Anyways, this is Joke's End, the second to last dungeon of the run. I don't believe this version of the game has stair jumping, but it did spin there anyways. So something I should touch on, is I actually missed this detail. So the reason why he's gotten luckies on the bros attacks actually is a routing decision. So the first attack of the fight, because of a certain badge that we have, first attack of a fight, if it is Mario, when he has it equipped, when Mario has it equipped, his first attack has a increased chance to do a lucky, which is part of why, you know, he's gotten several luckies at the start of fights. Anyways, the Joke's End is a rather complicated dungeon that basically forces us to use every trick that we've learned throughout the run. There's all kinds of puzzles here. And when I say every trick, I mean like every ability, but again, Thunder Bros is slower than just stacking with Spin Jump Bros. And the music here is just foreboding. I love what they did with it. I believe Shimomura did the arrangements here. Looking it up on VMDB, I believe they had like some sound effect rearrangements and whatnot, but for the most part, I believe it was just Shimomura. The enemies in here, because of how the stairs are kind of aligned, can be really annoying to dodge in certain screens, and they also just pack a ridiculous punch, so part of this is why we've invested in speed on Mario. While it does increase the chance of getting a crit on the first attack, it also just means that Mario has kind of the chance, if the fight starts, or if we get into an encounter, that we can run away quicker. The enemies in this area do a lot of damage. It's also becomes really important that we don't get into encounters from this point on, because much of the rest of the dungeon, the bros are going to be split up. This is kind of one of the parts that really complicates this dungeon. Part of why I think this dungeon is not a lot of people's favorites. More barrels. And so here, now that he's solved the puzzle, he's got to do a little mini game here. So this is Jojora. She is kind of the overseer of this area. She's a very mischievous young, I think, girl who just kind of likes to mess with anyone who wanders in. So we need to get to the end of this dungeon to meet with Violetta, but of course, it's never that easy. Of course, the game needs more dungeons. So once again, doing one of these mini games has to hit the block a certain number of times, and is surprisingly tricky to time. So here he's actually doing stair jumps. Hadn't been so far. Like, I might be misremembering how the physics engine of this game works. So I love the aurora effects in the background. Like, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of how this game, you know, uses the exact same visual style engine as the other 3DS games, but the other 3DS Mario and Luigi games. But some of the visual effects they were able to pull off, and some of the like reimaginings of several areas that were, you know, a little on the simple side. Much as I like pixel art, I do really like the way that they visually designed several of the areas in this game, and I think Joke's End is like by far the most like impressive makeover in basically every way with this version of the game. And so all of that was basically to create a bridge to reconnect the two bros. Being careful of enemies here. Excuse me if my voice starts going a little hoarse. Talking for 2.5 hours when I ran out of water an hour ago can kind of start to scratch up my throat. But we'll hang in there. We got one more dungeon, one more part of Tiki Valley, and then the final dungeon.
You've been doing an excellent job
Thank you.
commentating.
Thank you.
And if I just can remind chat, we are $57 away from 60,500 raised total so far. Got about an hour left to meet that. Love to see that happen.
Jump! Oh, yeah!
Unfortunate getting into that counter, but thankfully we didn't get back attack, which would cause Luigi to stumble, and that would force him to waste a turn getting hit and probably make running away get harder. He also can't run away if one of your bros is like stumbles and knocked to his behind. So this puzzle's kind of neat. You use the tornado to put out all of the torches after you've lit them, and that's what opens the gate. And so here we are finally at nearly the end of Joke's End. The timing window on this part is actually tighter than slightly tighter than I thought it was when I played the game as a kid. For whatever reason, I kept trying to run across it, but now it's just at the time the Fire Bros. So here she gives the option of one of 4 friends to invite. They're all mostly similar. I think they behave slightly differently, but the boss fight's effectively the same regardless of which one you pick. But this is Jojora and her friends. I can't remember the 4 names of the friend, but you get to pick which one, although they're all very similar. Jojora has a couple of different attacks here. Of course, if you counter her, she just runs away. If you can defeat her for more EXP, but similar to Popple, it's just not faster to do that. So here he's using advanced knockback bros. And as I mentioned, that hits 5 times rather than like the potential for infinite in the original. I love this attack. It's so silly.
Let's go! Let's go!
So here he just has the damage calculated. Bounce Bros would be the most effective thing to do with Luigi's turn, so you can in fact say calculated. Anyway, as soon as Jojora comes back, she's just like, you guys are mean, and then runs off. So we don't have to actually deal with her anymore. back to upgrading power, because now he's using Knockback Bros, and Knockback Bros does in fact use Mario's power. I might be mixing up the routes here, because I believe Cyclone Bros is something that he's supposed to pick up. I know in the old version of the route he used it. I don't know if he's using that route or something else at this point. I love Luigi's gibberish in these games. So Mario and Luigi being silent protagonists are, they make really funny noises. And each one, they have different voice lines. Kind of one of the things I actually like about this particular game is they keep it to Mario and Luigi. In later games, they'd add like an assistant, Stuffwell and Partners in Time, and every game afterward, you had the likes of Starlo, and they kind of just effectively become the mouthpiece. Anyway, so we do a trick here, which is really silly. Mario reveals that the princess that Bowser has was in fact a fake, and Bowletta is just like, all right, let's go catch the real one. And so let's drop this fake one and get the real one. It was all a ruse, except it was a double ruse. So Balletta's like, something seems wrong here. Look, a giant cockroach. And then that causes the Princess Peach to reveal that she in fact has a mustache. There's a great like dialogue exchange between Bowletta and Fawful. It's like, you see that, Fawful? Mustache. Yep. What's the plan? Attack on sight? Yep. And then just blast Luigi. So basically this whole thing was a ruse to get the princess back without having to cough up the Beanstar. And Luigi has to evacuate the ship here. This was all part of the plan. Luigi actually does in fact have a parachute. But Luigi's basically going through the ship here to get the Beanstar back that we faked. Sorry, we gave the Beanstar, but we got the princess because, yeah, the ruse. Anyway, we got the Beanstar back, but Luigi's skydiving plan did not exactly work out as planned, and he is now landing in the wrong spots. So Mario has to navigate Teehee Valley on his own to go save the princess, or save the princess. I mean, Luigi was just a princess, but he has to go save Luigi because he can't apparently jump over these rocks. This is actually where the big skip would be done in the GBA any percent category. Once again, getting more of that Teehee Valley. I don't know what you call. I don't know what you call that type of whistle. It makes me think of like it sounds like just like a MIDI version of like a mouth whistle, like just an actual whistle. But the whole like spaghetti western vibe is really cool. Thankfully, we don't have a princess to escort around here, so this area is a lot faster to navigate through. But since Mario doesn't have Luigi, he can't climb back up that pipe. Thankfully, he has everything he needs to get his brother back. And as we can see, Luigi has been taken hostage, but Mario can just light ropes on fire. Once again, they hug it out. And the captors here don't like that we've set Mario free. It is in fact Popple and his new rookie, Birdo.
go!
Okie dokie.
Let's go!
うわ最悪だそれ。一旦残すか。一旦残そう。
So this fight's actually kind of peculiar. If you take out Popple first, Birdo does some kind of... Birdo's behavior changes radically and the fight becomes a bit more complicated.
うわちょっと決まんねーそれ。倒れるかな。
I think his goal there was to take out Popple and Birdo in the same
Change
turn,
routes.
but missed the action commands, so he's missing out on the extra reward for that. It's unfortunate, so he's gonna have to deal with a slightly different route, but still, we're done with basically everything but the final dungeon now. So just a bunch of cutscenes. Birdo's also ticked off at the way Popple treated her, and she's like, I'm independent, I don't need no man. And good on you, Birdo. And that is the last we will see of Popple. So now we head back to the Bean Castle Town, and unfortunately, once again, it is in ruins. So because we've duped Bowletta multiple times and got one up on her, her plan is basically, all right, I'm gonna siege the entirety of the Bean Kingdom myself, because I mean Bowser has a castle that apparently can float. I'm not sure where this ties in the lore, because like we had something like that in Paper Mario, although it was a little different. But yeah, now it's just basically just going full violence and attacking the Bean Castle until we get the Bean Star back. So now we need to basically go to Bowser's Castle, settle things with Bowletta once and for all. Alas, we need a means to get to the castle since we don't have like an airship or anything. So if you remember back to the beginning of the game, the first area we went to was Hoo Mountain, and at the top was a dinosaur named Leblonodon who normally escorts people to the top of the mountain. Well, in fact, he is our airship to get into the final dungeon. So the glitch version of any percent for this area would be involve a glitch that you do this dungeon in reverse order, or like do it backwards to just skip straight to the final boss, but we don't have those glitches, so we need to play this out pretty much glitchless. Anyways, really cool final dungeon theme. The general idea here is we have the 7 Koopalings, because, you know, Bowser's minions slash children, depending on what canon. Of course they have to appear in this. This part stinks, because is it Iggy or Lemmy? Okay, I think this is Iggy. Basically just confuses us and reverse it. That can either reverse your control scheme or like change it by 90 degrees. So it's like up is down, down is up, or up is right, right is down, etc. Anyways, we need to fight all the 7 Koopalings, and they're updated to their Mario Kart like 8 designs. That Lucky just allowed him to one shot the first one here, so very nice. Yes, that was Iggy. They have a bit more visual distinction in this one. They also have their voices based more on the ones you would hear in Mario Kart 8. So that was one of the things the remake kind of tuned up. Unfortunate counter trigger there, but because he has enough speed on Mario, he can run away. Yeah. I do apologize for some of my details that I might have gotten wrong over the course of this run. This is there's a few route changes that I'm less familiar with going into this, and I did kind of have to come on for commentary a bit last minute, but I hope y'all have enjoyed this run. I think Ref has been doing a very good job gameplay-wise, so as long as you've been able to follow and understand, that is the most that I can hope for.
I agree. You've been doing a fantastic job, and absolutely Ref, been doing well.
Thank you.
Can I jump in with a quick donation?
Let's just wait a second here. I want to see how this fight goes. So here he's just using Swing Bros again. So he's actually not picking up Cyclone Bros, which is a bit of a difference in the route. Getting the lucky there is nice. All the 7 Koopalings have different HP amounts. I believe Morton has a pretty high amount. So here he's getting a defense down with the Thunder Bros. So that is something here. His attacks, I think all the Koopalings generally are themed. Like a couple of them have shared attacks amongst each other. But with the defense down here, he's able to just do a really significant amount of damage on the second attack here. That hammer alone just does 144. Yeah, these fights are nice and quick, but they do have some really nasty attacks. But now he's got to level up. He's gonna... Anyways, you have time for a donation now. We're all good.
Awesome, thank you so much. We have $15 from Bulk Hogan, who says, I am in awe of how the runners can complete normally long RPGs in the time that they do. Thank you for keeping me entertained all week, and much respect to all involved. Runners, hosts, tech crew, and volunteers who keep this event running each year, raising money for a brilliant charity in Nami.
Yes.
Much love to you all, much love to you as well. Thank you for your donation. And that puts us $42 away. Nice even number of 500.
Yes, very much. Appreciate all of our volunteers' help this year. Also, this may be a little indulgent of me, as F, who is currently off-site for various different reasons, but definitely give it out for the late crew. Got a late night tech crew. It's usually the harder stuff to roll, so we do give our thanks to the late night tech crew. And I can see on the webcam here our producer just raising his hands in victory. Seriously, the late night crew deserves all of your love for keeping this stream going. So this mini game here is like a 1 in 4. I believe it's guaranteed on the 3rd or 4th chance. I think it was the 4th or 5th in the original. Anyways, this is Lemmy. I believe was named after the famous bassist for Motorhead. Either that or they shared an origin. Either way, he is the least metal of the Koopalings, but that's okay. It was one of my favorites to play whenever I was playing Mario Kart 8, because I liked playing the Koopalings in Mario Kart 8. But given he's one of the smaller sized ones, he actually has less HP than a lot of the other ones, so pretty easy to deal with. And I believe there's a particular tell with how they jitter that you can tell which one's fake. It's either how they jitter or their eyes. So once again, seeing this timed mini game here. That's unfortunate. Ideally, you'd just get a 1, 2, 3 here, so you won't have to refill on water, but so be it. Kind of throws you off there by making it slow down. And holding on to the water here. So this is like the only time you actually use Thunder Bros with water, and that just causes Mario to become like a faucet, which is how you get the block there. There's a sign on the wall, I believe, that tells you this, but there's a couple of things you can use it for in the like casual playthrough of the game, but they're just like nice bonuses. That's the only time I believe it's required. I feel like this particular minigame is faster than it used to be. It's kind of similar to the jump rope one at the beginning of the game, except you only have one of... You cannot fail at once, otherwise you have to restart it. Anyway, this is Ludwig von Koopa, named for Ludwig von Beethoven. And I think it's basically... It was done because of his hair. Anyways, this attack is really tricky, so let him concentrate. Oh no, unfortunate.
そうか。そうだな。
Yeah, thankfully he can retry at the start of the battle. So what he does there is when the ball comes in, that's unfortunate to get it again. When the ball comes in and connects, he actually presses the home screen, which allows him to buffer an input a little bit more easier to time his counter. So that's why you'll see him exit out to the home menu here.
ここでいい。
Yeah, the window on that is very tight. But countering it ends the fight instantly, so all or nothing there. Alright, so 3 more Koopalings to go. I believe the last 3 all have like a timer on them, but the timer is like mostly for show. Even in a casual playthrough, these fights should never last more than like 3, 4 turns. So. But it is there for a reason, and we'll get to that a little bit later.
Okie dokie.
Clear, we got a few more puzzles. I'll give you, you have an opportunity if you want to read off anything, Selkid?
Absolutely, thank you so much. We are getting to the end of this run, which means the incentives for Ape Quest are going to be closing fairly soon. So, if you want to help name the Monkey Prince for Ape Quest, right now there's 4 options: Chadley, Filk, Monkey Scream, and Raquelt that have been nominated. You can put your donation to any of those, or suggest your own name for it. None of them have a particularly high amount, so you could easily change it with just a few dollars. Also, chat, let's give the runner our energy as they're going through. It's a very tricky section.
Yes, the final boss of this game is, even though he is running on the easy difficulty, like, the final boss, any mistakes can be punished severely, so, like, I mean, you saw one mistake on Ludwig and he still died, like, there are still points where things can go wrong, so definitely Reeve could use your energy. So Roy just kind of flees, but he comes back to stop us again later.
Let's go. Okie dokie. Let's go.
That's
Yeah, but
Push.
very nice on the counter there. I am amazed that that pipe can launch the barrel that high. Anyways, so with 2 final sections left to go and 2 final Koopalings to deal with. These can be kind of annoying. But yeah, similar to Joke's End, we see a bunch of different implementations of mechanics we've used. Here we see barrels. We see, you know, pretty much every bro's attack used at some point in this dungeon. But mostly it's meant to be a boss rush. There's 2 Koopalings and then 3 bosses, with the final boss being like kind of 2 separate ones. So this puzzle's not as intuitive as you think. This gate isn't actually here for any reason other than that the gate is the easiest means to separate the 2 bros. So if you hit Wendy O, you have on the left, she just switches over to the right, and then you go run to get her on the right, she switches back to the left. So really simple, but not the most intuitive at first. You know, she does the similar thing of cloning herself into 4, but she also has, I believe, the lowest HP, or like, if not the lowest, then one of the lowest HP counts of all of the Koopalings. Yeah, not quite the lowest, but definitely like very low. In the original Game Boy Advance one, I believe she had the lowest. So, but HP values are reconfigured to get a different damage formula in this version. So that's Wendy O taken care of very quickly. So that just leaves 1 more of the Koopalings. So this next part kind of ends up being like almost a 2D platform section, which that's something I've actually mentioned in runs of.
Okie dokie.
I mean, it's not quite 2D, but it's kind of basically. Surprisingly, in the era between Super Mario World and New Super Mario Brothers in 2005, there was not a lot of 2D platforming in Mario games. You see a little bit of it in Thousand Year Door during the Bowser levels, but like there really wasn't a whole lot of that. And then it's kind of funny to reflect on that a little bit, because after that we had so many new Super Mario Bros. Games that the idea almost kind of became cliche for a bit. And then we had Wonder come out, like, let's make a new 2D Mario game that like, sticks to the spirit of the originals, but like does a lot of very different things. And then now 2D Mario is like all the hot rage again with Wonder. Right, so this is Larry, the final of the Koopalings. And it's supposed to be the hardest. In fact, actually, they adjusted his timer to be like the fewest turns to deal with in this version. And that Chopper Bros was kind of ridiculous. So when they get angry like that, they're supposed to be like a little bit more active, but yeah. Here he kind of does his little tennis mechanic here and knocks the fireball back at you. So very well done, and that clears the fight. So very good Koopalings, apart from the mistake on Ludwig. So that leads us to the last 2-3 bosses, depending on if you want to count the final boss as 2 bosses, given the 2 phases. And we're making really good time here, I'd like to point out. So, apart from like a handful of little mistakes, Reef has been having a really good run. By the way, I haven't mentioned this, but much. We do sometimes use both Reef and Ref. I believe Reef is how he likes it pronounced, so that's why I've been using that. Alright, so this is our old buddy Fawful in kind of his like dramatic final appearance before he reappears as a cameo in Partners in Time and then becomes the main villain of Bowser's Inside Story. Probably, I would say the reason they remade Bowser's Inside Story instead of Partners in Time was because they already had Fawful assets from this game. Anyways, fun fact, the original GBA version of this game, on the North American release, I believe this boss fight played the Popple theme. It was supposed to play Cactuletta's theme, which is what's playing now. Anyways, so what he needs to do is hit the... yeah, he needs to hit the machine a certain number of times to set him out. So Fire Bros does that instantly. That mashing. Yeah, Fawful has not a lot of health, but he can be a really nasty fight, so clearing him quickly like that is very nice. Yeah, that mashing on Fire Bros was a lot. Alrighty, so we're on to the final boss, and it is a little bit less intense than it is on Game Boy Advance. But as the person we could probably call the like original pioneer of RTA Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga speedrunning, Alta Biscuit often says, any completed run of Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga is a good run, and that is because of this final boss here. So we'll get a little bit more into that. Riff is just equipping to be able to take on the final boss a little bit better. Don't know if he's going to use healing for safety. In any percent, like, you often just don't, like, in any percent you get one shot by it anyway. The final boss theme, I would say, I don't think it's as bad as some other people say it is. It's definitely not as good as it is in the original, but still a really cool final boss for what it is. So this is Bowletta.
Okie dokie.
This version of the theme, I think, is sick. Like, the second stage, not as much, but the first phase, yes.
Let's go.
Do I have a moment to jump in with a very quick donation?
Let's hang tight just a second.
Sounds good.
I'd like to give Riff time to focus on this final boss here. This first phase isn't too bad, but the second phase is definitely very intense. So I will let you know.
Good.
Let's go.
Yeah, his damage output is really big in this version. The damage formula is still, like, much higher in this version of the game, but enemies have a bit more stats to compensate as well. So this phase is always pretty quick, so he's able to take it out. But suddenly, the timer bomb just shows up, and it was a trap all along. So now Bowletta just kind of swallows us up, and now we have to fight inside of her stomach to defeat her soul. So, good luck, Riff. Gambate. Alright, so this is Cacletta's soul. She has 2 hands, a head, and then you need to break all 3 of those to reveal her heart, which is her true health bar.
Let's go.
You need to drop the health of the heart all the way down to finish the fight. Head has some of the more time-consuming and nasty attacks, so usually that goes out first. And notice that he starts the fight off with 1 HP. At some point he can heal, but, like, I think because of how good his time has been so far, he's gonna try for... he might actually just try for the dealing with it with 1 HP for this attempt. I believe if you die here, you can still retry, so it's not like, you know, run over, but definitely taking a risk without healing here. Don't mean to alarm anyone, but he was on PB pace at one point. So he also was able to take 1 free hit there, and then Luigi takes another one, just because that attack is just really obnoxious. I believe he has equipment that allows him to take 1 free hit, so that's why.
Nice. Let's go.
頼むぞ。
Yeah, so when you get her health down to certain thresholds, she starts to, like, do a lot nastier attacks.
いったかいったか Yes!
Oh, nice. Nice. Was able to bypass the attacks, and that is the final boss. Yeah, was able to take a few free hits, but he did still need to counter several of them because he doesn't have like infinite free hits. Okay, so that is the final boss. Run
来たか
is
来たか
going
来た
to
か
be...
来たかこれあるんじゃないか
So yeah, the final boss is not the end of the run.
おうじゃ
I'm boss. I will let him call time. I think he might be on or close to PB pace, hence the excitement. So yeah, this has been a really well done run. There's a couple of route changes recently, so yeah, I used to get like a different bros attack, but yeah, now he doesn't get Cyclone Bros, which is the final of Luigi's, so that's a bit of a route change. Anyway, so we have like a brief section where you have to escape from the castle. So you have a very brief moment to get in any donations.
Absolutely. We have $142 from F-Stake Enjoyer with no comment, but thank you so much because that brought us up to a huge amount. I'll talk about that in a moment. Let's focus on this escape secret.
That's fine. This part's kind of easy. Anyways, it's mostly just cutscenes until the end of time. Or the end of time. All RPGs are just cutscenes for eternity. No, it's just mostly cutscenes for the rest until he calls time.
Fair. Well, then we have reached $60,600 raised so far for the National Alliance of Mental Illness.
Awesome.
Huge congrats, everyone. Thank you so much for your generosity.
So let's see. I'm curious what his time is here. This cutscene's faster in this version of the game. You see, it's gonna be close.
Hey, go,
Very- Oh my gosh. Okay. So some of this is due to the route change. So that was I should have called it. That was time like a bit ago. So that was 3:14:39 was when time was, which would be world record by like 9 seconds.
Incredible.
That was why I was excited. I wasn't sure because I know that cutscene's like 2 minutes on the GBA version, but I think it's a little faster on this one. So, yeah, with the route changes and the just really good execution and luck in so many places, that was a world record by 9 seconds, if the timer was anything to go by. Wow. I wasn't expecting that when I signed up on this one, so very good job. Yes, just want to say thank you all so much for watching.
39
Yep, 3:14:39. You just submitted a PB of 3:14:48. I haven't even gotten to verify it yet. Now it's obsolete. Well, I definitely can verify this one because I was here for this whole thing. Yes, so we'll do our quick shoutouts. Shoutouts to the Mario and Luigi speedrunning community, Alta Biscuit, Mug 1991, big pushers of the original of this game. Snowion, who had the record in this category for a long time. A couple other runners for this game. Allegro, who did some early work. Veg Jimmy and Poppy Rhea, both big parts of various games in the community. Bone Crusher's done some work on it. Leave some bits of tech for the early versions of the games are found by runners like Really Tall and Solidified Gaming. There's a lot of names in the Mario and Luigi community I can shout out. Shoutouts to Tonkatsu and Ref, who have really pushed this game in recent years. There's so many people in the community I could shout out I don't have the names for, but all of you just know that you're wonderful people, and it's been awesome being a part of this community with you. But real quick, I'll throw it over to Ref here for just a second. Ref-san, omedetou gozaimasu.
ありがとうございます Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. If you have anything you want to say, Ref? Alrighty. So with that, we shall send it back to RPG Limit Break in Salt Lake City, Utah, where it should be setting up for the next run of, I believe, Ape Quest by Zeke. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We still have a full day left of amazing speedruns for you. And thank you all very much for watching this run. So, take care.
Huge congrats once again to Reef for that incredible run. And we think world record. Huge congrats. Such a good run. We do have one more quick donation here, $50 from Iron Furs with no comment, but thank you so much. And we are going to go to a sponsor ad. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this ad from our sponsor. All right, everyone. I have been Salcouth Mind. This has been the end of my host shift here. Has been an incredible time that I've greatly enjoyed being here. One honored to be part of this run. But don't worry, there are still lots of speedruns happening, lots and lots of games to still be seen, and more opportunities to donate to the incredible National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I'm going to be leaving you in the fantastic hands of CC. He is wonderful and fantastic. You're going to have a great time with him. And so I hopefully see you around again at another event. Have a fantastic final day.
Yo, what's going on? RPG Limit Break 2024. Thank you so much, South Coot Mind. She did an amazing job. My name is CC. You got to stay tuned to the next run of Ape Quest. You can still snipe that Monkey Prince name. The #1 name right now is Chadley. And if that is telling you anything about this run coming up, you better stay tuned.